Photography, I've started taking photos since 2018, and ever since then I loved it so much. When I'm feeling stressed or when I'm feeling down ataupun aku tak tahu nak buat apa-apa ke apa, photography has always been the first thing that has come to my mind. Taking a photo through that small lens has changed my life so much. Without photography, aku mungkin tak ada dekat tempat yang aku berada sekarang ni. It can capture every moment in your life. That's what photography means to me. So finally hari ni I got a chance to show to you guys yang macam mana how I edit my photos, a process of my photo editing, my workflow. Aku dari dulu lagi nak tunjuk kat korang macam mana aku edit my photos, because I think it's really interesting to know someone else punya process on photo editing. But today it won't be an in-depth tutorial on macam mana aku nak buat macam mana how Lightroom works, macam mana aku edit every photo semua, macam calibration semua tu aku takkan jelaskan semua, but aku just nak tunjuk korang macam mana aku edit my videos. So let's go. Okay, so guys, aku dah pilih a few photos just for this video yang I've taken before. Aku try pilih gambar yang agak berbeza, but if you guys know me, aku memang tak gambar portrait a lot, so mostly of the photos yang aku ada is portraiture. And I'm gonna start editing the first one. I took it with aku ambil gambar ni dengan aku punya Canon 200D, and tak silap aku this was the nifty 50, shot it on 1.8. Okay, but the first thing yang aku selalu buat to all my photos before aku start editing all of my photos, aku akan scroll ke bawah ni and go to the curves and pretty much make a slight S curve dekat semua RGB channel. And why I do this is pretty much kalau kau buat the S curves on every red, green and blue channel, dia akan give a bit of nice contrast to the photo. Instead of me just keep making S curves on the red, green, blue channel, I made my own preset, and dekat sini it's called contrast curve. Pretty much I click it and boom, semua akan ada kat sini lagi. There you go, gambar dia agak gelap. And first thing aku rasa aku akan naikkan a bit of the exposure. Okay, there you go. I think it's a bit too much contrasty, so pretty much aku akan turun a bit of the contrast here. Dekat gambar-gambar aku, I like making my photos to have like a soft look, but it depends on the photo. Kalau aku macam buat gambar portrait, aku akan make it soft, so the model in the photo dia akan like look much better pretty much. And if I take like street photos, I make it contrasty, like shadows pun tinggi macam tu, the blacks tinggi. So pretty much okay, I think that's good enough for the contrast. Drag down the highlights and bring up the shadows so we can see what we are working here. Aku kalau boleh lah, aku tak nak like it's too dark in the black, so pretty much I want to see the details in the photos. Alright, kita orang kacau the whites. Okay, what I do to get like the best, not the best, like for me like the around the perfect whites is pretty much aku akan bring up the whites while holding alternate on your keyboard. Okay, pretty much dia akan clipping dia punya whites tu, and then kau drag je. Okay, once you can see that like ada clipping sikit on that photo, you stop right there. Now I'm gonna turn down the blacks pula, and there you go. And then apa yang aku buat, like to make my photos nampak lagi soft, aku akan turn down a bit of the clarity. Okay, now aku akan go back to the curves, and aku akan kacau the curves right here. Aku akan make it, ni aku main bantai je, I'm just gonna eyeball it. Apa aku juga buat in my photos dekat curves, for I want the blacks to be like macam fade, so dia akan have like an aesthetic look. Faham tak? Aesthetic look. So I'm just gonna bring, aku akan letak point kat bawah ni, and then the black point down here, Just gonna bring it up a bit. And kalau korang tengok the blacks, if you focus right dekat dia punya baju ke apa, will be a little bit faded. Now I'm gonna just maybe drag this point as well. Okay, there you go. And I'm gonna also bring down the whites so dia akan be much more like faded for the whites. Aku akan turunkan ni sikit because I think it's a bit too contrasty. Let's just bring it down a bit. I think that's okay for the overall look. Now kita akan kacau dia punya like color pretty much. Now color, first of all, aku akan kacau at the vibrance and saturation right here. So I'm gonna scroll back up and then bring up the vibrance. Yeah, bring up the vibrance and lower down the saturation. Jangan risau, kalau gambar dia is saturated, kita akan kacau dekat HSL punya tabs ni later. Okay, aku nak gambar aku like it has a bit like yellowish pinkish vibes, faham tak? Like summer vibes, I guess. So I'm gonna just drag up the yellows here and then bring that, naikkan tint. Okay, now we're gonna move to the HSL tabs. We're gonna moving faster. Now aku akan kacau dia punya skin tones first. Skin tones is pretty much dekat the orange, red and yellow punya part, but it's mostly on orange. So right now dia punya skin is pretty much desaturate, tak ada colour sangat. So we're gonna bring it up so she will look much more alive. So kita akan naikkan saturation here, kacau the hue a bit here. Now the reds, aku nak dia punya rambut in this photo to be like standing out, like pop out. So I think that's the highlight of the photo, right? And also dia ada macam like flowers dropping in front of her face, so also want to highlight that. So I'm just gonna bring this up quite a lot. Okay, one more thing aku tak suka in my photos is yellows. The yellows suck. I hate it so much. So pretty much aku akan bring down the saturation on the yellows here, and pretty much aku akan see a slight difference affects the photos dia punya yellow. So aku takkan buang habis. Aku akan just like maybe put on -55. I think aku akan add more to the greens here, and then just bring down the luminance a bit. And then I'm gonna move to the greens, lower down the saturation sikit ni. Aku terlupa, before I always edit my photos sebelum aku letak the curves and all that. Okay, aku akan go down and click enable, and there I can speak. Aku tak boleh cakap. Enable profile corrections. I'm gonna take that, and pretty much dia akan like buang all the vignetting and dia punya like distortion from the lens. So pretty much kalau kau pakai like cheap lens like mine, aku pakai the Nifty 50, 100% dia akan ada the vignetting and distortion. So click, this is so important to me. So scroll back up and pergi dekat color grading. Color grading ni, I think let's just wobble around here. I think aku nak buat the shadows a bit to the blue, maybe aquas, and the highlights aku rasa aku nak put it more to orange. Okay, for the midtones aku akan letak juga dekat orange, slightly to the red. Aku akan naikkan sharpening ni sikit, but here's the trick. Aku tak nak like it to sharpen all over the photo pretty much. So because I want that soft look, but kalau kau sharpen dia akan like have that grainy, disgusting look. Dia different daripada like normal aesthetic grain. This is like sharpen, buruk punya sharpen lah. I hate that. But the trick is, instead of it sharpening the whole photo, aku nak like get sharpened dekat the edges. Masking ni, what you guys gonna do is hold alternate dekat keyboard, and then just drag it sampai dia punya putih tu like only highlights. Okay, now aku akan kacau dekat calibration. And for the blues, aku suka turunkan orange and teal punya like kind of vibe sikit. So kalau aku turunkan, dia akan bagi like a bit of aquas and aku akan naikkan a bit of saturation right there. What I like to do with my photos, aku suka like have it, dia ada like a focal point. Use a radial filter dekat atas ni, pretty much mask, and aku nak gambar ni like focus on her face, like maybe turn down a bit of exposure, just a bit. Aku tak nak like crazy vignetting. In my portrait photos, like I said just now, aku nak the model have like soft. So aku akan go to my brush tool right here, and aku akan mask out the face. Kalau korang nak keluar like nak tengok apa yang korang paint over, just tekan O dekat keyboard. There you go. Aku akan turunkan the clarity to make it look much more softer, and I think that is done for the first photo. So here's the before and after. It was shot on the 5D Mark II, tak silap aku. Lens aku pakai 50mm for the shot. First of all, aku boleh nampak gambar ni macam singit, so aku akan fix that first. Now gambar is straight. Okay, sometimes aku tak buat like the contrast curve first, because of this photo, dia punya vignetting dengan distortion tu is so crazy, kau boleh nampak jelas sangat. And I shot this luckily in RAW, so aku akan turun bawah to lens correction, and then tick terus enable profile corrections, and dia akan buang terus. Let's do the contrast curve. You can take that and drop the contrast. I want this photo to have like that soft look, the colors of like macam a film look. I want that, so aku drop the contrast right here. So kacau clarity, I'm gonna drop it a bit. Temperature aku akan naikkan sikit je, sebab di gambar dia dah agak kuning, and aku akan turunkan dia punya tint just a bit to the greens. Go back to the curves, bring down the whites, and yep, that's looking great. So aku akan kacau dekat vibrance and saturation pula. Now, okay, let's move on to the HSL. Okay, first let's go to the orange, sebab kita nak fokus dekat skin tone dia. Okay, kalau gambar portrait, skin tones are the most important things if you editing a portrait photo. Okay, so I'm just gonna remove the yellows right here. Now kacau the greens. Aku nak greens the more to the green, kalau kau faham the hues. Okay, bring down the saturation right here. Go to the blues, bring it up. Not that much, tak nak banyak sangat. My HSL tab is done, so aku nak go down to the color gradings. Macam aku cakap tadi, I want this photo to have like a film look. So films, they tend to have like this bluish in the shadows and the yellows dekat the highlights a bit, very much. So aku akan bring it to the blues, highlights, bring it, let's see, I think it's orange. Pretty much photo editing is korang just kena eyeball everything. That's what I do. Selagi gambar ni macam aku nampak macam kurang sikit, aku cari lah macam adjust sikit, and then colours dia sampailah korang dapat the image that you guys want. So macam tadi, naikkan sharpening, kacau. Okay, for alternate, tarik the masking. Pretty much the same things, man. It's just like different colors and different photo styles, pretty much. Aku nak kacau dekat calibration. This is where you start getting the look of the film photo. Okay, now let's make a focal point macam tadi. Macam kalau gambar ni, it's bright look. It's a bright look. Aku tak nak gambar ni too dark, so aku akan drop just a bit of exposure, and that is pretty much it. I think it's done pretty fast. Let's look at the before and after, and yeah, that is pretty much it. That's how I edit my photos. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Aku harap korang suka this video and learn some new things that you guys haven't known. So that is how I edit my photos. my workflow 2021 version. InsyaAllah next year aku akan buat lagi satu video macam ni. Leave a comment down below and like this video. I hope you guys enjoy this video and hit that subscribe button. Keep creating and stay creative. Bye.